right?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to add some.
I know, right? So's the clock up there. I got 3 different times. Oh, there we go. It's now 9 a.m. We'll call this meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. This morning's invocation is Commissioner Morris.
Yes, hi. As you all know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so because of that, I would like to read a couple of excerpts from a book written by my friend and fellow parishioner at Creekside Community Church, Amy Zabel. It's called Outcast, A Mental Health Journey, and she describes her experiences with dealing with a diagnosis. And just a couple of things that she wrote I thought were impactful. Jesus was drawn to the outcasts and faced criticism for doing so. He loved the people that others loved to hate. Scripture says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. What are we doing to sharpen others? Are we putting self-interest above others in ways that misrepresent Christ? Do we put our viewpoints upon others to achieve uniformity in our lives? Or do we work to accept and support others living by Christ's example as we pursue unity? I would not have the strength to share my story without the love and understanding of family and friends, the ones who never thought that I was too much, the ones who stayed with me through all the ups and downs, and who prayed for me, the ones who stayed with me after a crisis to love me in everyday life, the ones who are still doing the same. These are the people who know how to love without even complete understanding. Our own healing often comes from a place of serving others. This is what Jesus did, and this is the example that he wants us to follow. Thank you to all of those who sometimes feel worn down because of us, the outcasts. And as we go to prayer, loving and compassionate God, we come to you acknowledging the heavy burdens, hidden anxieties, and deep sorrows that so many carry in their minds and spirits. You are the ultimate source of comfort and peace, and we lift up everyone who is navigating the dark valleys of mental illness, trauma, and emotional pain. Grant them the courage to keep moving forward, the patience to endure their struggles, the comfort of knowing that they're never alone. Surround them with a loving support system of friends, family, and compassionate professionals who can guide them toward healing and wholeness. Lord, we also pray for a deeper sense of mental health awareness in our communities. Open our eyes and soften our hearts so that we may create safe spaces of grace, empathy, and radical hospitality. Help us to dismantle the walls of stigma, shame, and misunderstanding so that those who are hurting feel safe enough to ask for help without fear of judgment. Guide us to all be instruments of your love, lifting one another up in our times of weakness. In your holy and comforting name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Deputy Clerk Coyle, good morning.
Good morning.
Could you
Happy
do
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Could you do a roll call for us, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Walter,
Here.
Spence,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Morris,
Here.
McAllister,
Here.
Henschel,
I'm here.
Lynn,
Here.
Andrews,
Here.
Seifert.
Here. Thank you. We're going to move on to first public comment whenever you are ready.
Thank you. Any person shall be permitted to address the meeting of the Board of Commissioners, which is required to be open to the public under the provisions of the Michigan Opens Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board may state his or her name and township or district. Providing a specific address is not recommended. Persons may address the board of matters or issues which are relevant and germane to the county government as determined by the chair. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chair shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chair may, at his or her discretion, allow an additional opportunity to speak if determined germane and necessary to the discussion. Sorry, tongue-tied this morning. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4, Order of Business. However, public comment may be received during the meeting when a specific agenda topic is scheduled for discussion by the board. Prior to the first public comment, the chair will indicate the topics on the agenda for which the public comment will be accepted. Members of the public wishing to comment shall raise their hand in order to be recognized and shall not address the board until called upon by the chair. The board shall not comment or respond to a person who is addressing the board. Silence or non-response from the board shall not be interpreted as disinterest or disagreement by the board. Please be respectful and refrain from personal or political attacks.
Thank you. Anybody that's willing to speak at this time, please just walk right up to the podium. Going once, going twice, third time's the charm. Thank you very much. So approval of agenda. There is, before we do that, there is a change in the agenda per the request. Item 10D shall be postponed to a future meeting. The person asking for the appeal could not make it today. So, having said that, I will make a motion. Do we approve the agenda as presented with the exclusion of 10D?
Second.
Fantastic. Mr. McAllister, I'm sorry, Commissioner McAllister, seconded that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you, everyone. Get back to my place here. Consent calendar.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business on grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by the commission motion without discussion. Any members of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item of the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, received and filed or approved, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. All information identified on the consent calendar can be viewed in its entirety at the www.gtcountymi.gov. A, receive. A1, Safe Harbor Shelter Utilization Report, April 2026. A2, ARPA Status Report. A3, Expenditure Report. A4, 2026 General Fund Financial Report for March. B, Approvals. B1, Adoption of Board Commissioners Meeting Minutes. B2, 2% application Habitat for Humanity Grand Traverse Region. B3, 2% grant application 217 Recovery Heart Collaborative. B4, 2% grant Recycle a Bicycle. B5, 2% grant application American Legion Post Number 35, Grand Traverse County Department of Veterans Affairs. B6, 2% grant application Reigning Liberty Ranch, Grand Traverse County Department of Veterans Affairs. B7, Family Court, 2% grant application, Peace Ranch. B8, 2% grant application, Good Meals. B9, 2026 hauler license. B10, Health Department 2025 Annual Report Receipt. B11, ARPA Funding Reimbursement Request. B12, May 11, 2026 Interview Ad Hoc Committee Recommendations. B13, May 15, 2026, Interview Ad Hoc Committee Recommendations. B14, Sheriff's Office Vehicle for Decommissioning. B15, Category 100, Board of Commissioner Policies.
All right, thank you. Would anybody like anything pulled from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll take a motion that we...
Move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Fantastic. A motion by Commissioner Henschel, the second by Commissioner McAllister to approve as presented. Roll call vote, if you please, Deputy Coyle.
Spence.
Yes.
Nelson.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
McAllister.
Yes.
Henschel.
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Seifert.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. So now we're going to go to 6A, special orders of business.
Good morning, Commissioners. With us today is the Director of Networks Northwest, Janie McNabb, to present her impact report for 2025. Good morning, Janie.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me. Seems like I was just here last year. But I'm excited to share with you.
Uh-oh,
Oh, just as I got up here.
of course.
There we go. So, again, thank you for having me. I appreciate your time. I'm here to share with you the impact of our organization. We have more than 50 different programs, all of which provide support and assistance to the talent or the businesses or the communities of our region. And you'll see in this report, there are a lot of regional numbers for our 10 counties. But today I want to highlight a few programs and share some specific information for Grand Traverse County. Happy to take questions as we go along. This is kind of a long PowerPoint, so I'm going to skip several pages. But we'll start here. This is where we see kind of the highlights in terms of numbers. And I'll give you some Grand Traverse numbers that I have. So we had over 10,000 individuals served in our Michigan Works programs for what we call general services, and that's adults. That is when people walk into the front office of our service centers or access our programs for general assistance. And 2,500 of that 10,000 reside in Grand Traverse County. We served over 1,500 youth, 300 of which are in Grand Traverse County. For businesses, I want to point out the $1.9 million in grants to businesses. Those were the Going Pro Talent Fund. You've probably heard of that program before. Very popular amongst our businesses. It allows them to train their existing and new workforce. And we were able to obtain $745,000 of that $1.9 million for Grand Traverse County companies. So those are a couple of highlights in terms of the numbers, but I want to point out a few programs and give you some more specifics to Grand Traverse County. I would love for you to watch this video. You should have a live link. This PowerPoint doesn't have the live link, but you should have a live link in your packet. And that video is from our My Career Quest last year. We actually just had it this year for 2 weeks ago. But that particular video interviews the young people who went through the event and highlights the actual impact on them. We really wanted to focus on the experience of the students, exploring careers, finding out opportunities they never knew of exist in their own backyard. And that event is designed to do that in a really engaging way. I'd also like to point out our OS reentry program. This is working with individuals who are paroled from state prison in conjunction with parole agents. And this individual, Gary, resides in Grand Traverse County. He came out and we provided several supports to him, but he needed something in terms of a long-term sustainable career. So we were able to then partner with a Michigan Works program to support his training to get his CDL, including a hazmat certification, which is really in need. And he's now working, sustaining his family, living and residing as a productive citizen. I will also share that we had 230 individuals served, over 230 individuals served in that program region-wide, and 89 of those were in Grand Traverse County. I mean, you have the highest population, so we have pretty high numbers in Grand Traverse County. I also want to point out, I've talked about this before, our apprenticeships program. We have 38 different apprenticeships at 27 employers in Grand Traverse County. That ranges from an industrial tech apprentice at Sara Lee. And actually, Sara Lee has been a really long-time great partner in our apprenticeship program. They were one of the early adopters. We also have a lot of healthcare. We have like medical assistants at Munson and Thurlby Clinic, sign installers at Pro Image Design. So just a real wide variety across the different types of occupations. I'd also like to share a little bit about our Apex Accelerator program. This is the program that helps businesses get access to government markets. So we had 19 businesses in Grand Traverse County that we worked with who in just 2025 obtained 258 different contracts with government sources, totaling $62 million. And one example of that is Ventured Skies LLC. They are an aerial photography and videography company, and their contracts with the government are with the USDA because they do a lot of surveilling of agriculture and farmland. For our community department, this is regional planning and community and economic development. You probably, hopefully heard about our hybrid and remote worker study, where we did a whole analysis of the remote workforce, focus groups in partnership with our economic development organizations across the region, and determined, just how much hybrid work is impacting the workforce in our region. A couple programs that we've taken on recently are related to childcare, supporting childcare providers, supporting initiatives that really our goal is to strengthen childcare as an industry, to support childcare providers as the small businesses they are. And so we convene a regional coalition. We also have a family childcare network, which focuses on supporting home-based childcare providers, supporting them with professional development and business support. And then we recently became the facilitator for the My TriShare program, which just means that we are trying to recruit businesses. And I'd like to thank Commissioners Flynn and Andrews, who invited us to come talk to the county about My TriShare recently. So any feedback you have on that would be great. If you want to share how that went.
So the Chamber of Commerce put out their minutes of a meeting a couple of months ago indicating that TriShare was looking for local businesses that were interested in hearing about TriShare opportunities for their workforce, since we're a workforce of almost 600 people. The R&R committee invited Networks Northwest to present My TriShare as a benefit, a recruitment and retention benefit to the county workforce. Obviously, that's a opportunity both to attract a new pool of potential employees and also hopefully get people to stay longer because their child care is being partially offset through both the state and their employer. So it's proven as a highly effective retention tool in addition to recruitment. So we were pretty excited to hear about that, and the task or the R&R committee asked administration to work with our HR department and with Networks Northwest's facilitators to put out a survey. If you read the county communicator that Jenny puts out every week, there was a highlight of the survey in there for encouraging staff to take it so that we could see what a program would look like, how we might look at designing it, phasing it, presenting it, and then what it would look like. So really helpful collaboration with Networks Northwest, with staff, with HR, with the committee. It was, and any other thoughts?
And from some of the emails that we received, I do feel that there's really great enthusiasm coming from our employees. Looking forward to that possibility.
And I've heard that the survey was well received and that we have quite a bit of good information that came back from staff, and we'll be addressing that at the next committee meeting, I think is next week.
28, yeah.
We should have some information.
Yeah, wonderful. And I appreciate even exploring it, that the county's willing to just look at it. It is a pretty significant benefit, but it is one of the top 3 barriers to employment that we see across our workforce programs, and that actually has been the case for many years. It's just become so much more accelerated and amplified over the last several years. So appreciate that you're willing to take a look, and we're going to be working with more and more businesses around the region to do the same. So another item I want to highlight is some work we did with 3 different communities, neighboring communities in the county, one being Mayfield, Village of Kingsley, and then Blair Township. Whenever we do a master plan with a community, we look at neighboring zoning to potentially align where it makes sense for that community. But in this report, you'll see where those 3 neighboring counties had unique priorities. And I think that's the nice thing is that, when we work with a community, they really have to determine what's right for them and what they want in terms of their land use and their future. So for instance, Mayfield was focused on farmland conservation and preservation. So they really honed in on our identification of farmland, looking where the best soils are and where active farms are currently operating. Village of Kingsley was really focused on population growth, and then Blair Township really identified housing as a top priority, so really honed in on where they could focus on that. And Commissioner Seifert, I think those are all 3 of those in your district?
They are, as a matter of fact.
And I remember you talking about it last year, so I appreciate the acknowledgement, and we appreciate all of those communities working with us and utilizing our services. You'll see at the very end of the financial summary, we work very hard to get as much program funds out, as much funding out to the programs as we can. So you'll see our administrative costs were kept at a 12%, and then rest going to program and program support. Talent continues to be our biggest proportion of programming and funding, and that's primarily through our Northwest Michigan Works nonprofit arm and programming. But we see a lot of overlap amongst the programs, and we do everything we can to integrate, not only from a program perspective, but administratively, so we can spread indirect costs efficiently and get the biggest bang for our buck. And I want to thank you for your support. Every year, it makes it possible for us to match grants and to continue to support our infrastructure. So it's really critical, and we really appreciate it. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Flynn for representing you on our board and being so active and engaged. What questions can I answer for you?
I got one.
By all means. Questions?
I was just going to ask if you could elaborate, if at all, the reentry program. Is there reentry that coordinates with the Grand Traverse County Jail in terms of workforce integration and opportunities for people coming out of our custody?
Not a specific program, but we certainly have folks coming in to utilize our services, and we have partnerships and communication with the jail staff. Today, actually, we are hosting a, oh my gosh, what is it called? Road to Recovery? Road to Reentry?
Expungement clinic?
Yes, thank you. At our Traverse City Michigan Works Service Center, which really creates awareness and partners with several different jurisdictions in terms of incarceration. So while our programming is specific to reentry from state prisons, we work across the board where we can.
I did take a meeting with Crystal and I can't remember the other,
Probably Kendall?
Kendall, thank you. We did a tour of our old work release facility for potential use for housing of females.
Excellent.
It's just, I think that the building is really pretty rough, and I don't know that it's going to match needs without a lot of work on it. So that still is something that is hanging out there as a possibility. We haven't talked to the board about it, but Crystal did express interest in that.
Wonderful. Housing continues to be our biggest need, without a doubt. It's our biggest support that we provide. And it's especially challenging for that population when every population is challenged with housing right now.
Mr. Spence, please.
So thank you for your presentation. I was looking at the packet that was included in that's called the Road to Restoration Clinic.
Yes,
That's
thank you.
happening today, which is pretty cool. Looks like it's from 10 to 3 at Michigan Works. And I see there's free driving records for the first 120 participants, in addition to helping people take the next steps towards reinstating their driver's licenses. What does that mean? Do you know? Free driving records?
Yeah, so getting a current valid driver's license is one of the biggest concerns and barriers for anyone reentering. So that requires getting your record and finding what is preventing you from renewing a license and so forth.
Okay.
And so, that depending on where that comes from, it's can be costly. And so that is a service we provide. We're
Great.
providing today.
Well, I hope if anybody in the public's watching this who needs their driving record reinstated, maybe they can hop on over there.
Yeah, run over.
Thank
Commissioner
you.
Hicks, You're welcome.
Commissioner Flynn?
Yep.
Oh, Commissioner
Walter's
Walter?
had her
Whomever?
hand up for a while.
Thanks. Thanks for being here. Last year, it does seem like we're just talking about this, but question, last year I asked about federal funding and state funding and how that was looking for you all and all the programming that you do across the region. How is that looking now for you? I just see the revenue by source for the previous fiscal year, but no trend on the revenue by source. So can you just speak to that a little bit and how that's going?
What you're seeing is typical year to
Okay.
year. 85 to 90% is from a combination of state and federal funding, which is not very diversified. We recognize that. We are actually launching some new exploration into different types of fund development. Our organization has always pretty much just relied on grants from public sources. And yet our services provide such a comprehensive community good that I think there are other opportunities out there. So we're looking at ways to further diversify. In terms of the stability of the federal and state sources, we're definitely feeling better this year. Last year, there was just a lot of turbulence, there was withholding of funds at the federal level. So there were time periods where some of our program funds weren't coming in when we expected them. We were looking at potential complete shift in terms of our workforce funding, which is one of our biggest funding sources. And that's not looking to be the case this year. It's looking like we'll probably continue as is. We continue to get pretty much flat funding, sometimes a little bit of a decrease, but it does feel like a cut because costs keep going up, but the funding doesn't. So yet another reason to look at other funding opportunities. So thank you for remembering that.
Yeah, I just wondered how that was going.
Yeah, it was a challenging time for us.
Yeah.
Concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the colors don't coordinate from the top budget sections to the
No.
bottom. They're just all the same, but they're not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
Maybe I'll talk to our graphic designers about that.
Just talk to me about the decrease over the last 4 cycles with the piece of the talent budget going down every year and some of the others increasing. I'm assuming that's just programming, but can you speak to us a little bit about what's happening there?
In 2022, you're seeing some ARPA and COVID-related funding. So that was a little bit unusually high in those years, 2022, 2023, 24 and 25, again, just kind of a little bit of a decrease. For business, we actually shifted where we were categorizing some things. So what you see now in business, some of which used to be in talent or community. In our regular board packets and our finance committee packets have more information on that, and I can follow up and send how that impacted the trends.
Sure,
and
just the
information.
trends over time, just to, see how you all are doing and
Yeah,
what
thank you.
needs you have. Okay, thank you.
We did discuss that in our finance committee of how we're going to figure out how that show that when everything got moved to different categories.
Right.
Can I ask about your relationship with TC Connect and how you two work together?
Yeah. We are pretty strong partners. We have, Networks Northwest has acquired a few different grants and provided funding to Traverse Connect for some different initiatives. One was site readiness. So we provided funding to them for staffing to identify and coordinate with developers and local municipalities on sites that have potential and could use an infusion of funding in order to make them really ready for investment. They identified in that two different projects that we were able to funnel actual project funding to. Another example is it was a Growing Michigan grant that Networks Northwest acquired, and that was what funded our remote worker study, which we also partnered with Traverse Connect on doing focus groups and accessing the remote workforce. But they received a decent amount of that grant to boost their Creative Coast programming. And then for talent attraction. And then just recently, I think in the last month, we provided them with a really comprehensive packet of information on parcels in their coverage area, Grand Traverse County included, that could have potential for development with an overlay of water and sewer infrastructure boundaries. So it'll really help them to narrow in on where they might want to either attract or help businesses expand in ways that are, kind of ready for that.
Commissioner Henschel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to highlight a couple things you're doing that I really appreciate. The child care initiative.
Thank you.
Great idea. We've talked about child care for eons, and it's good to see a collaborative coming together. Is there any specific, quantified goals of the group? And I'm curious about what the resources have been made available, rough dollar figures.
Well, so in this annual report, we only had one program, and I think it was $100,000 to convene that region-wide coalition, but also to do some implementation. So some of the programming we've carved out of that are things like small projects that will just really help with issues that childcare providers themselves are identifying. So for instance, our group of home-based providers, they really do struggle with just regular business operations skills, right? They're great with childcare, but running a business is something they need some help in. And filing taxes. So we are partnering with Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency to have one of their tax folks get certified in a child care specific expertise to support those providers with being prepared and filing appropriately and efficiently. And so that's a little piece that funding is going towards.
That's great.
Something you wouldn't even know about or think about, and yet I
I've
think
long
it's going to be
said
really
that
impactful.
the solution to our childcare issues are in helping people who are good with kids, but not necessarily good with business, get established and provide the needs of the community.
Exactly.
I've
That's
just-
really the lens we're looking at it through for all of
Great.
this.
Great. Is there any, is there a goal, like we want to see 200 more childcare, home-based childcare providers in the area? Is there anything been quantified at all?
No, but we are
Okay.
working towards that. We have a core committee of the regional coalition, which includes some of the other initiatives that are more sub-regional, so that we can use some of the planning that's happened in the past. And we definitely have identified numbers in terms of gaps, the need versus what the supply we have, which I can't remember the numbers on that. But we really have to hone in on what's realistic. We hear lots of stories of people wanting to start childcare programs and it taking months to years
Yeah.
to meet all of the requirements. We also have identified a gap between home-based providers and full childcare centers that are referred to at the state as micro centers. So we're hoping to get that provision allowed, where a home-based child person could maybe run a childcare in a church or another facility without having it to be a full-fledged center. So
That's great stuff. Great. I just want to continue to encourage
you.
actually setting quantified goals, because in government, it's rampant. We will address something, we will start a group to talk about it and move on to the next issue without making a meaningful impact. So quantified goals would really be an opportunity there.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see actually some movement. It's easy to talk about, it's another thing to do it.
Yeah, no, and actually our, the agency at the state that is, funneling these funds and running these programs has some data, so I will follow up on that and
That's
see
great.
what.
The
see
other,
what we
the other
can
thing I
find.
want to highlight is helping people get driver's licenses. I operate a retail business. We open before beta does, and we close after beta closes. And Uber is not consistent. And e-bikes, the Chinese e-bikes are everywhere, and they're all using them, but the weather is not always conducive.
And we live in
So-
northern Michigan, right?
Yeah. So, I'm seeing people, not just in my business, Commissioner Nelson and I had a conversation earlier this week about this exact thing. Weather hits and people lose their jobs because they can't get there. So helping people get a license who've made bad choices and lost it, it's an extreme hurdle.
Yeah.
Extreme. When you don't have a car, you don't have transportation, it's hard to get it. It's like a lot bigger hurdle than it would be for us to go get one who already have one.
Right.
So what can you tell? You mentioned reentry, which is people who have been incarcerated, and you help people that have been incarcerated get their driver's license. Is it for other people as well, or only the incarcerated?
If anyone needing, looking at getting a job, working with us on acquiring a job, if that is a barrier that they are facing, we will help them with that. One example is in our youth programs, the number one supportive service that we help our youth with is driver's education,
That's an issue too.
right?
Yes.
And it is
Yes, it is.
something we're not only hearing from businesses, but from our youth themselves.
So, so you'll help people who have been formerly incarcerated. You help people who are trying to get a job. What about people who are trying to keep a job?
It all depends. We do have some programs specific to retention, and timing can be part of it, but we definitely want the call because we want to see if we have a program to match with that.
Yeah, I think that's another downfall in government is we tend to look at one metric, one number, and that's how many people did we help get jobs. And while you had, a third of that number fall off, lost their
right.
job because they couldn't get to work.
Yeah, what's the
and
net,
they're
right?
unreliable, and there's only so many times a boss can say, all right, I'll cancel all my plans and come work your shift before they say, I'm going to find someone else.
Yeah,
So I will certainly be sending some people your way.
wonderful.
Thanks.
Commissioner Andrews? Anyone else?
Well, I really appreciate and certainly taken up enough of your time, but feel free to reach out at any point if you want a tour, more information, data. Be happy to help.
Thank you very much for your presentation today, Ms. McNabb.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we're going to move right along then, I believe. Lost my place, my apologies. Health Director Leahy has a report, or a plan of organization and accreditation he wants to share with us. Seeing that we had nothing removed from the consent calendar.
Good morning, Board. Mike Leahy, Grand Traverse County Health Department. Thank you for the time. Quick little update from me. Thank you for the placement on the regular meeting schedule agenda. I do need a signature from our board chair after this, so reason for the regular session. In consent, we approved the annual report from the local public health department. I just want to give credit and thanks to our staff. That was routinely something that we pushed out in October or November of the following year. We did hit our metric of pushing that out in April and May. So thanks to the staff who helped push that through. I always like hitting goals that we set for ourselves. It did factor into then this plan of organization. So our local health department will embark on our accreditation program here in 2026. Our on-site review is scheduled for the week of 8/3/2026, and we need to have some materials submitted to our state partners who perform that accreditation here coming up in June, I think June 3rd. That's the reason for the placement on the agenda here. We, as a public health department, are an accredited body. I go into a little bit of a detail here about what that means. I think we may all be familiar with what an accredited body may entail, but who takes part in that process at the local public health level? The accreditation is a collaboration between our Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, MDARD, EGLE, our 45 local health departments across the state of Michigan. Through our health officers, have an opportunity to provide feedback and direction about what we feel is pertinent for that accreditation process. And the funding for that ultimately comes from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and those are the folks who will be on site here in August that our teams are back at the shop preparing for. At a very top level, why we feel accreditation is important at the local public health level is to make sure that the taxpayers, our residents across the entire state of Michigan, are receiving like services in every program that we offer. We have our essential local public health services that we are required to provide to the community under the funding that we receive. And all of those come with, we call them MPRs, those minimum program requirements, right? So with those funds to provide the services, we need to be hitting those benchmarks for the community. So accreditation is a process in which they come in to make sure that we have the administrative processes in place, the policies, the procedures to effectively deliver those services under the requirements of that grant funding. Within accreditation is a plan of organization. So the plan of organization reflects the services and the organizational makeup of a local health department. The department's plan must be submitted to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services every 3 years. That's the accreditation cycle, is every 3 years a local health department is accredited. And it has to happen no later than 60 days before our accreditors come on site to review our programming. You'll see in the plan of organization, the first 5 pages really reference that MCL in Part 24 of the Michigan Public Health Code, where it references really our authorities as a local public health department. And in there it is spelled out that we as a local health department are required to have a plan of organization that demonstrates our ability to provide the services to the community, that is reviewed by our Board of Health and signed off on once every 3 years. So we were able to boil that down this year to about 27 pages, I think. I encourage you to take a look at that. There's the first, I think, 5 or 6 pages really reference kind of our authorities under Michigan law, under local ordinances and regulations, our own sanitary code that we have. And then it goes into our organizational and governing authorities, the relationship we have with you as our Board of Health, and then with our organizational chart. You kind of see the 7 sections there. One section that jumped out to us as we composed the document was item 3, really something that we're looking to improve on in 2026 and 2027 is to do some strategic planning for our local health department to tie that into the strategic plan of our county. That hasn't been revisited since I believe it was about 2018, our local health department strategic plan. So we would like to set a trajectory, and we have this year to begin to address that. Outline of delivery services, item 5 is another one I encourage you to review, as we have required and mandated services under the Public Health Code, and then we have services in which we can apply for grant funding to provide. That's always that kind of push and pull, right? As to we have services that we have to administer to the community based off the Public Health Code. Those take priority, and then if we can operate efficiently with our revenues, expenditures, delivery, there are additional programmings in which we do here in Grand Traverse County that serve a great deal of benefit. Some of those are programs for moms and babies, some of our home visitors and such. Any questions? It's a document. It's lengthy at times. Again, it does require a signature from our board chair before I submit that to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Within that is also our annual report from 2025. And with that, here for any questions or conversation.
I got one.
Yes.
Thanks for your report. It's pretty good. It says you have 75 full-time employees, or how's employment going, and how are we deficient anywhere? Or?
It's going well. We do have a number of vacancies too that we're really taking a strategic look at our staffing plan right now and through end of 24 into 25. It definitely changed a bit over the last 12 to 18 months. There were positions that were posted for a long time that we have been able to bring new staff on board. I'm thinking of roles in environmental health, public health, nursing. We've had some great success. Our biggest concern right now are the mental health providers, the licensed certified providers. For example, the position that we had placed into Kingsley High School. There are requirements around who we put into a school-based setting and provide mental health services to adolescents. That position still sits vacant. That's not unique per se, I don't think, just to us. I think just statewide, there's really a need for those mental health providers in the community. So I would say that's one that we're looking at the most to try to see how we can improve on that.
So how many vacancies do you have right now, or do you eliminate any out of your budget? Say we got 10, but we don't need 2, or that kind of stuff.
So going back to our 2025 budget, we did freeze 5 vacancies. Those were based off that COVID funding, right, and some of that funding that started to go away, and we did not see the room per se in our revenues to support those positions. So we took them out of the budget for our we're in 26, right, excuse me, for our 26 budget, so that we can spend a year doing an inventory and also doing kind of an assessment to see, do we really need those positions? So we are taking a look at that. I do think we have an approach that may look at some of those vacancies coming up here for our 27 budget. The big goal that I asked our team our leadership team to take a look at was to make sure we have 45 different cost centers, right? We do 45 different items of programming at the local health department. Public health nurse may work in 3 or 4 of them, right? So make sure we have our people spread effectively across our programming, so that the positions that we have filled remain filled. And if we get into a position that we need to cut a vacancy, we're cutting vacancies and not filled seats. I think we in Grand Traverse County were able to navigate that really well in late '24 and '25. There were some local health departments that had to cut filled positions due to reductions in funding, and we were able to navigate through that and reduce the number of vacancies that we were budgeting for in the '26 budget, and I fully plan for us to continue on that trajectory in '27.
So do you do, I know like in Kingsley, that's very specific, but within your peoples, do you have cross-training so they can work in different departments like that type of?
We strongly encourage that. I think we have some tough conversations with staff occasionally, right, about the need to do so. I think it's important for the organization, but it's also important for that team member to be able to be cross-trained in multiple programming so that it creates a diversification in our portfolio, but also in their capabilities. So we look at that at our public health nursing, our public health technicians, our sanitarians. We have some sanitarians who have done a fantastic job doing multiple of those roles, whether it's well and septic, to soil erosion, to food. Same too with nursing. We encourage vaccination, home visiting, communicable disease investigation. It is important to be able to cross-train like that.
Great. Thanks for your time. Nice report.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions? Commissioner Andrews?
Yeah, just a couple questions. Community health assessment, it's something you participate in as a collaborative effort.
Correct.
What is your perspective on whether we would see a county, right, like those are large regional areas. We know that our needs aren't necessarily, when you dilute it across a 30, however many county region, it doesn't necessarily hone in on our, is that something on your horizon? And how does it fit into your current staffing and
as we plan for and prepare for accreditation, we're reminded not just in the work that we do in providing services daily to the community, but also as we plan for accreditation, it is a requirement to have our community health needs assessments done. And you're correct, we currently do them in a partnership of 31 counties across northern Michigan with our health systems. There's pros and cons to that. One of the drawbacks I see, to your point, is that it's less dialed into our community, which is different than Mackinac City or Alpena or say, right? We have just different resources in our community than elsewhere. But one of the pros I'm reminded at this time of year is the cost benefit to that. As I speak with local health departments, more so downstate, single county health departments who run their own, very costly. Also, we have a good partnership right now regionally with Munson, who contributes to that. I see a need for us as a single county potentially to create that relationship. Some of that regional funding is that kind of funding on the margins per se through state health departments that was in flux. So we're navigating through that right now with our partners in our local health departments in the Northwest region. One example of that is Community Connections. I've been in front of the board previously about an agreement we had with Benzie Leelanau to continue the Grand Traverse Hub. We have some staff at our local health departments who are doing a great job trying to bring that funding in. But it's a struggle, and it is something that we are having a conversation of how do we do this locally if we have to by ourselves. The way we're going, I think some of those factors may make a decision for us that we have to move a different way. The funding is out there, but it is a ton of work, and there is less opportunities, and there are more applicants in the pool now to bring those funding into local jurisdictions to do that type of work. We have some great staff. We have an epidemiologist who sits on that. I think our team is surprised just how much time it takes for that position to take part in that community health needs assessment. They are big lifts, so.
So I don't want to add to, things that are not necessarily mandated by the state, but we do have a tension ongoing with providing medical care to inmates who are in our jail system, who are in our correction system, who obviously don't get, health insurance of any sort, including Medicaid. So what opportunities, as you look over the horizon, right, you're part of the jail input and advisory, do you see opportunities there? We've got a cost. We know that what that cost is. It keeps getting bigger and bigger exponentially over on the corrections side of our budget. Are those conversations you're having, and how are they going?
They are conversations we're having, not just here in Grand Traverse. I have been able to connect with other local health officials across the state who have offered the services of jail medical under their umbrella. I get to hear a lot of pros and cons to that. There's challenges either way, really, is my understanding as I just do an informational dive into this. I think there's operational efficiencies that could be that have been identified that we can really take a harder look at. One, I'll give an example, is we have a medical director under, as you see in our plan of organization, we have a medical director and a health officer at our local health department. Those are the two positions that are appointed and approved by a local board and then approved at the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Per population calculation at MDHHS, we have a 0.4 medical director that's contracted. I'd love to be able to have more of a presence with a medical doctor in our local public health department. I see some local health departments that have that, and they're able to provide additional services to the community that I think in some of these needs assessments and in some of these jail conversations are gaps in our community. But we don't have the funding or the capacity to do that just yet. So if you're asking me to look way out through the trees, I think there's an opportunity there. But jail medical is a monster of a service, and I've been able to dive in. The sheriff asked that I sit on the jail medical contract review, so I was able to kind of really get a full visual on what's being provided, how it's being provided. I do think there's a ton of benefit to having our providers on site locally, providing the services, creating those relationships with our healthcare systems and the transportation and all of that we know drive those costs up. I think we just are on the right track to at least be talking it through, given the trajectory of the current contract that the sheriff's office and the jail had just put together.
Commissioner Nelson.
So I'm not trying to cut off discussion and questions, but I'll make the motion that's on page 104 of our packet with one changing the date from May 13th to May 20th on both the heading and in the resolution.
Second.
Thank you for the catch.
Thank you. Any more comments before I come back to
yeah.
Commissioner Andrews?
To Commissioner Andrews' question, what other counties have that connection between their jail and the public health department? Do you know?
The one I talk to the most is Ingham County, which is Lansing. That I approach that comparison delicately, right? Ingham County is a Department of Health and Human Services that employs upwards of 300 staff. They manage their own FQHCs in the field. So I'm careful when I'm comparing us to Ingham County Health Department, right? But I'm talking with their medical doctor and their health official to at least see what are the traps, right? What are the things that we would need to be concerned about, and where do you see some efficiencies taking place? One of them is the mental health component of it, right? Separating out the physical health care of those in the jail with the mental health components of the jail. When you try to combine all of those together, it's tough. So.
Commissioner Anderson, you had a follow-up.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say your report, it looks like this was meant to come to our board on the 13th, but 2.2 in the report also has that May 13th date.
You're absolutely correct. My apologies.
There is no further discussion. There is a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, everyone, and thank you.
Appreciate it.
Director
Thank
Lane.
you.
Okay, so we're going to go to, what number are we? 8D, Board of Public Works. So I'm going to give you guys a little background because some of you probably don't remember because it was forever and a day ago. Last year, Board of Public Works had some concerns about their relationship with us, the Board of Commissioners, and the board authorized Commissioner Nelson to just have a conversation and see what they were going, and at Commissioner Nelson's request, and it took a minute to get there, I believe. It ended up being in January.
February 10th.
Was it February 10th? Very good job. So on February 10th, Commissioner Nelson couldn't make that, so he asked that I and the vice chair would go to that. And we had a conversation with Joe McManus and Beth Friend from the Board of Public Works. And they had a list of concerns, and some of them I thought were reasonable. And so we would like to, at their request, they've asked that we continue that on. Now, having said that, I don't have the authority to do that, to negotiate on our behalf. And so my brought this today is that I'm going to ask the board to provide the authority for someone to negotiate on our behalf to bring something back for our approval. Seeing that Commissioner Nelson is on the BPW, I feel that it should be his duty to do that, but I'll let him speak for himself instead of me speak for him. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
No, I think, I don't know if negotiate is the proper, or we should at least get together, put the issues out on the table and have a continued conversation. I'm not sure that I want to be the one that's negotiating as I serve on both boards. So I'm a member of that board. I'm a voting member of that board. I would, I guess, prefer that we have a few members of this commission, such as an ad hoc, who can sit down with the Board of Public Works and have those discussions, look at the items, and see what we feel might be the best way forward. I might not be the best person if I was the only person doing that. I don't feel that is a good. I think we need some outside looks, so to speak.
I can see the value in that.
And we do have, I just want to say this, we do have members of the Board of Public Works and the DPW director here, if you want to open that up to any comments or thoughts from them.
They are welcome to speak at this moment if they would like to. If they don't want to, that's okay too, no pressure. I appreciate you being here today. I'm going to take that as a no, Commissioner Henschel, or at any time. Please feel free.
Mr. Chairman, if you think it'd be helpful, I'd be glad to assist Commissioner Nelson. I've always seen the DPW as a partnership in execution. The owners, the townships, have a board, and they set the policy, and the county historically has had a little more management muscle when it comes to execution. You know, we've got a big HR department, we've got a good administration department, so it really, I'd like to hear more about the issues. I'm curious, because if they set the policy and we execute it, if they don't like how we're executing it, adjust the policy so that we're executing it how you want it executed. I don't see a power struggle here. I think this has been a good relationship, and I'm curious how we can make it better.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to join them? So,
I guess before I'm voting to, what is this? Is this an ad hoc to?
I don't understand.
I guess I don't understand what problem we're trying to fix.
I know, I feel like maybe we have a study session on it before we get to this. I feel like there's a lot that most of us don't know
Right.
what's going on.
I guess I would start with, what is the problem we're trying to solve?
so I would suggest this, seeing that Commissioner Nelson and Commissioner Henschel have volunteered to go have a conversation and receive a list of concerns, if we will. Why don't we start with that, and then we'll come back with a list, and we could do a study session next month, or the next study session, we could talk about it and have a plan forward for them for negotiation. I know I can't speak for the Board of Public Works members, but I do know that there was a couple things that they talked about that I thought were probably pretty reasonable, and some things were not reasonable at all. But I'm one person's opinion. I am not king, as Commissioner Alger constantly reminds me. Love you.
Commissioner Elger just got a demotion.
He's the ghost commissioner.
I would ask my fellow board members if we do this, and there are some comments that I'm hoping will come from our chair, but we may wish to invite others, such as members of administration, to this meeting. But with your permission,
100%.
I would like to introduce Jeff Shaw, who is the chair of the BPW board.
Thank you. So we really weren't prepared to say anything, but you know, on behalf of the Board of Public Works, we've always appreciated our relationship with the county. I've been chair, this is, I guess, my 7th year, starting my 7th year as the chair. So, you know, Scott and I have had coffee and just talked informally. As a Board of Public Works, we do have some concerns with some of the things. You know, your rules and our rules have to be able to be commingled. You know, our bylaws and your bylaws. And there's some things that we have concerns with that. So again, we value our relationship with the county, and we would love to be able to move forward with that. But there are concerns, and those, you know, it'll be an opportunity to sit down. We would love to have that opportunity to just sit down and say, you know, here's the concerns we have. You know, we need to be able to function essentially independent of you guys, because, you know, all of our expenses are paid through the money that users pay us. And so we need to be able to distribute that appropriately so that we can function as a business, quote unquote. So those are some of the concerns. But if we can do an informal meeting where we sit down and get some of that on the table, if it needs to come our board to your board, you know, a list of concerns, we're more than happy to do that. And we would really, really like to move forward and just be able to talk about those things. So that's where we're at. And I think I've covered it, but you know, so certainly if you guys have any questions for me right now, I'm happy to answer that.
I have a question.
Yes.
Last week when Mr. Call, the head of Traverse Connect, was here, he flagged that one of the needs regionally that they foresee, I think Commissioner Walters specifically asked about it, was more coordinated work related to water and sewer in our county, and that they were proposing that within the scope of work that they do, there be some more additional collaboration around that. So where does the Board of Public Works fit in with Traverse Connect and the perceived deficiencies in the services we provide with respect to water and sewer?
So I know Noah, our DPW director, has dealt more directly with them. You know, I'm Elmwood Township. I'm chairman of the Board of Public Works, but Noah, our director, is the one that has dealt more directly with him. So Noah, do you want to present that? So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Noah Carberg, Public Works Director. I'm not aware of the TC Connect study or any stated deficiencies regarding the system or communication of such, so I'd ask that that's sent my way, and I'd be happy to review.
I'm just going to, if anyone wants to correct me, my understanding was that the Traverse Connect was identifying areas where we have opportunities for improvement in terms of regional barriers to development, housing, economic growth, community development, and one of the bullet points listed was water and sewer, coordination of water and sewer. So I don't want to overstate, you know, I don't think he was saying Board of Public Works isn't doing their job. I think he was just saying there is a perceived need in the community for a more comprehensive approach to how we plan for water and sewer regionally to ensure it's coordinating with housing and other transportation.
I think that's more on the township level of their planning and zoning, and then as members of the DPW, he would implement what they had planned and zoned.
I think that's, my understanding is that there is, I'm going to use a term someone used recently, which is, right, townships by definition are autonomous, but they are also part of a system. And the county's role is to be the system, right? Like we're the regional central government. So how do we ensure that there is a regional perspective instead of a township perspective on the Board of Public Works?
That's a great political philosophy question.
Well, I also think it's probably right to the point of having a conversation that we want to have with them and so we can move forward. Commissioner Nelson.
Okay, you can see me jumping up and down over here. I want to, so for the clarification for the board and the members of the public, the Board of Public Works through the DPW is a coalition basically of 5 townships and the city who own and operate water and sewer in their jurisdictions, those 5 townships in the city. It is 5, correct? Am I? And also if you have a septic tank dumped and it's dumped in Grand Traverse County, they operate that facility as well. So it is not that if another township, I won't pick any particular township, but if they're not a member of that, it's not the responsibility of this board to manage in that township. That township could certainly petition to become a member of this if they want to tie into the system, but there's no blocking or preventing those type of things from happening. It's just this is the BPW is made up of these people who own and operate these systems. It's a way to coordinate, such as right now we have a coordination of starting next week of a force main sewer that's going from Acme through East Bay and then on into the city sewer system. So it's the jurisdictional cooperation between all that, and that's what this board does. It cooperates with inside and then outside jurisdictions that need connections and that are welcome to have these conversations. It's certainly not a cartel. It's not blocking anything from happening.
If only, right?
Is it statute for the supervisors to be on the Board
No.
of Public? Oh, so it's just.
Yep.
Okay.
I just want to remind everyone that this morning when Networks Northwest gave their update and they talked about the relationship between Traverse Connect and Networks Northwest, they did talk about, Jamie talked about water and sewer overlays on the parcel maps. And I think that speaks to what you were referring to. Vice Chair Andrews, thank you.
Sorry, I hope it's okay. I just want to reiterate what Traverse Connect might have been referring to. There are regional conversations amongst multiple economic development organizations identifying need for alignment when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to planning, when it comes to zoning across multiple municipalities. There's so much efficiency to be gained when adjacent municipalities work together to make it possible to increase capacity, to target and support the right kinds of development for those communities. So I think it's very much supported, that approach across the region and probably the state. I'll also share that our regional planning department a year or two ago did a white paper on water and great read, water and sewer infrastructure, where they found that there's a lot more examples around the state of collaboration and cooperation across municipalities for water and sewer infrastructure rather than annexation or things that would remove the authority of a municipality. And so there's a lot of opportunity there when municipalities truly collaborate, if that helps with the perspective.
It does, thank you. I'm going to make the motion that we have Commissioner Nelson, Commissioner Henschel, Administrator Alger, and a third commissioner to be named. There you go, Commissioner Andrews. Listen to what they have to say, bring back a report to this board, and we'll go from there.
Second.
Any comments, questions, or concerns? Deputy Clerk Coyle, was that clear as mud?
Okay. And make a report and come back to the commissioners for review.
And Commissioner Andrews. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. I'd like to thank the BPW members for being here today and helping us out with this, as well as you, Ms. McNabb. Thank you very much. We're going to take a 15-minute break. I'll see you at 10:30.
And where's the technical expertise? You're going to have
takes 2 to 3 days to make it.
None of the hair.
Clock
I
on
did
that
get
wall.
Snickers pie, though. That was good.
Yeah, that takes a couple of days.
They all said you were having a hard time with the wafers for the crust last time I checked.
Yeah, they just, there's so many things on the
The
very tough
change
time
the
there for a month. Though.
agenda.
I'm going to call this meeting back to order. Seeing there's no unfinished business, we're going to go to new business. 10A, Public Information Officer discussion. So those of you that noticed, we had some weather here this last month, and Nate and I, fortunately, were on TV for the better part of a day and a half. Wasn't straight from Nate, unfortunately. And in the process of that, I realized there's some shortcomings in what we do. We did a good response, people were available, but sometimes we were kind of gathering around, kind of a little scattered about the information, what we're accessing and what we're sharing with the public. Not that our contractors don't do a good job, but they don't work just for us, they work for everybody. They're contractors. We felt it was, we asked Administrator Alger to come up with a proposal, or at least talk about a proposal for hiring an in-house public information officer and his administrative staff. This would not only just be for emergency situations, but this would be for everything we do. We've all sat here and realized that the county doesn't do a very good job of sharing information and promoting the things that it promotes. And Mr. Bird's not here today, but we've had 9 Emergency Operations Center activations in the last year. That's a very high number. So that's all I got on that. Mr. Alger, would you like to add?
I can add context. So we have already been discussing this internally, administratively. We have a job description. We're starting to forecast what those costs could be, anticipating this discussion. We've heard it from the board previously that this is something that is of interest to the Board of Commissioners. So we're in for that. What I asked the chair and the vice chair during the agenda setting meeting was, can we approach this through the 2027 budget process, so we actually have a budget discussion specific to the PIO process and what that would look like, cost benefit analysis, et cetera. We're completely in on that. We're ready to go, and that could be very much, if this board wants to go that direction, it would be very much a recommendation on behalf of administration that we would move that forward.
Commissioner Henschel.
Thank you. So yeah, we've talked about this on and off for years. Nice to see it coming back. Nate, can you give us some example of peer counties of a similar size, maybe a little bigger, that have something like this in place, and how does it work? What does the public get from that? And what's the value that's created?
Yeah, I don't know of any peer counties that have a PIO in place. I think the city of Traverse City, our closest partner, has a PIO in Colleen. She does a great job. TCAPS has a PIO. Munson has a PIO. We've actually used Munson's PIO in a former incident to prepare some messaging for the sheriff. My only reservation that I've expressed with this board is, in any given instance, the elected official behind the event is the PIO. Yeah. And they need somebody to feed them information. And it is my understanding that this is what this board desires, is to have somebody not necessarily in front of a camera, but somebody who is creating content and messaging, not only for incidents, but throughout the year. Mr. Leahy and I had a brief conversation, I think last week, because they have currently an opening in their, it's not a PIO, it's a public information coordination type of a position. Can we blend that into one position? And the reality is we cannot, because of certain grant requirements that the health department has. They have to have their own public information campaign. But that's what we could have. We could have a PIO that's constantly pushing information.
Are you envisioning this as a dedicated role, or will this be part of someone? Will he have other responsibilities, he or she?
I look at it as a dedicated role.
Okay.
So to go on to kind of clear up some things, a public information officer is not the star of Straight from Nate. That's Nate's job. A public information officer is a professional responsible for managing communication between an organization and the public. They manage the data, they write the reports, they collate, they get all that stuff together, they call the newspaper, they call this. They're not giving the information, they're providing the collation of the information and scheduling press releases. What is that they called? Groundbreakings, things like that.
Okay.
We've got lots of things that we could do. And that would be, in my opinion, it would be something that would be in the administrative offices, but also be something that emergency management would use. It'd be the same person, and perhaps even with the health department, because I know that they have that vacancy now.
Okay, one last thing, Nate. As we move through this process, I'm generally supportive. If you could reach out to your admin list of other county administrators and just kind of give us a flavor of other counties that are doing this and how it works. I imagine, like anything, it could be a little bit different at different places, but I'd be curious for some feedback.
I will certainly do that. Currently, actually, I was going to ask the board later, we are having the MAC admin conference this week. So it's something that I'll definitely bring up during the nuts and bolts session on Friday. And if you have anything else that you would like me to clarify with partnering counties, please let me know.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Kalamazoo, you can speak to that.
Oh, Kalamazoo, would they?
Commissioner Nelson, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks. We've talked about this a couple times. I'd like to see your job description, but you did pretty good clarification there, and maybe using 3 departments for this person. I also would hope that we would still engage with a contractor that we have. I think that's a very helpful and a depth of, you've got multiple people there who can then help and provide some consistency to work along with this potential public information officer. So I'd like to see the numbers, like to see the job description, but I think there's a good way to make this work.
Commissioner Flynn?
I support this. I mean, to Rob Henschel's comment, just that it's really hard for us to find counties that are exactly like us. We are just like we are the largest growing county, so we're not like all our neighbors, and I think there's probably counties definitely that, I mean, look at what we're going to have on the 4th of July. It's going to be insane. We're going to need things like that, so I approve.
Commissioner Walter?
Yeah, I'm
coming
glad to
down the
see
line.
this. I just wanted to add one thing. The Policy Review Committee has been discussing our FOIA process and the possibility of having that restructured within the county, more centralized, more consistent, the whole process more transparent. And is that still under consideration as part of this job to manage it, or is that, it's not?
The public information officer would be separate than a FOIA coordinator. FOIA coordinator, from what I have gleaned, from what I've asked, has a specific set of skill set that's different than a public information officer.
Yeah, I agree. I had heard that conversation floating around, that was a possibility, and they are 2 very different things, but.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. We've completed a job description for a countywide FOIA officer. We've got Matt's comments review, HR's, Nate's. You'll see that at the next week's Policy Review Committee. I am concerned about if that staff is created, that staff taking on more responsibilities like public information, because the FOIA requests, as we've talked about before, they're growing annually, and that's a big job.
To your response, I think I was the one that said that, and I got educated very quickly that it's an apple and an orange. You can use them both to make fruit salad, but they're not the same fruit.
Yeah, I agree, and we had talked about that, but I kind of heard a couple different things about it, so I'm glad that that's where we landed, and I look forward to seeing that and having that discussion next week to see where we are with the FOIA situation. But yeah, this is a huge need, and I'm looking forward to the description.
Sweet. Commissioner Morris, did you have your hand up?
Nope.
Commissioner McAllister?
I'm good, thanks.
Sweet. Commissioner Spence?
Yeah, so would they do our social media coordination and communication as well? Would they replace or reduce our need for Grand Bay promotions?
I mean, I think they would coordinate media relations and media messaging and also pushing things out. I think that's a TBD exactly how they would interface with current contracts.
I would agree with Commissioner Andrews. That is one of the challenges that we've highlighted through this process is a PIO isn't necessarily going to be a webmaster. Like they may not have a skill set across all spectrums of public information distribution, so they couldn't necessarily get into our website and fix a break, or we don't know all that goes with what our IT backdrop is with our website, et cetera. So we're working through that as we speak.
Okay.
But I think that Commissioner Andrews, to be determined, is a good way to put it.
Excellent. Any more comments?
I'll vehemently oppose any attempts to get rid of Straight from Nate. He's our guy.
I concur.
I second that.
All right.
I have just
Do you
a
need a
follow.
vote from us, or?
I
think
think
Commissioner
we-
Walter, consensus
Well, I
of the
just had
board.
a follow thought. The county has a lot of departments that have their own communications needs. So I'm curious to see, and maybe this will come out in the job description, how much of that is covered by this person versus within each department. Like, I know, for example, senior center has their own person. I believe the health department has one or is looking for one. So there are some that don't have any help. So just curious to see how that will be structured.
Yeah, I agree. Commissioner Nelson?
I wouldn't be comfortable voting yes right now just because it's kind of an open check. I'm in favor of this, but I don't think a vote is what we need today.
Well, we can
But,
vote, we can vote for the proposal.
We
We don't have to
get more
approve it, but we
information,
can
I think
vote
have
for
a-
the research and the proposal.
Yeah, we have a consensus, I think, to move forward if you want to vote on that, but we'd like to hear more information, I think, to make an informed decision to go ahead with this.
If I could get a motion then at some point that says,
There you have one right there, and just popped up in front of you.
your second grade teacher.
Denillion, we learned Denillion in elementary school, so remember that?
Motion to request county administration to present public information officer position for consideration or, whatever that says, for the 2027 budget.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
A presentation is part of the 2027 budget process.
Yes,
I'll
thank
read it again. Motion to request county administration to present public information officer position for presentation as part of the 2027 budget process.
Exactly what I said.
I was writing it as well, so I'm glad you got it.
Fantastic. That was motion was made by Commissioner Nelson and seconded by myself. Are you good on the language? Oh, bless you. All right, any more discussion?
I just want to ask,
Yep.
to Commissioner Walter's point, just to help us understand how it fits into the organization with other communications, how communications are being handled in other departments, how this role would coordinate with where we have and where we don't have anyone, so that we have a sort of holistic perspective on how that all works together.
Got, like the senior center network, they have somebody dedicated to communications. Commission on Aging may not necessarily have a communications person, so we can put all that together within the presentation for the budget process.
Thank you.
So, and before I call for the vote, to add some more clarity to that, I would like to see some heavy leaning on emergency management definitions and people that are versed in that. 9 emergency operations center openings in 1 year is a lot. I don't see it going away anytime soon. So, if there's no more comments, questions, concerns. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Oh, this is going to be all you, Nate. Or is this you, Commissioner Andrews?
I'll hand it over. So at agenda setting, and I think we've all been on some emails from constituents who are interested to know what Grand Traverse County is doing to celebrate the 250-year anniversary of our Declaration of Independence. And we had a short discussion about it at agenda setting and thought this was something the board might want to weigh in on and have some, what's our interest in having a presence. And I think we all got little bags from the Cherry Fest folks who already happen to have something planned for the 4th of July this year. Do we want to have an outsized role relative to our normal role, given our role as the central regional government? in this area, and we just thought the board want to think about that.
I'll get shirts like what Daryl's wearing.
I bought a shirt.
Exactly.
Can we get some of those?
So,
That's very festive.
Nate, do you want to just give a little more context?
Certainly, thank you, Commissioner Andrews. I spoke with Kat Pay, the director of the Cherry Festival, just said the county has interest in talking with you about what can we do for, whether it's a sponsorship or some type of a better coordinated effort from Grand Traverse County with the Cherry Festival to engage with the activities. She gave me about a dozen things. The opening ceremony, certainly they would love to have county representation there. There's a bed race, there's a milk carton regatta that we could have the county employees enter into. There are sponsorship activities similar to like the pancake breakfast that they have. The county could provide some funding to help offset those costs. So there are opportunities. What we want to do, I mean, there's going to be a parade entry. The county can have a parade entry. I don't know if you knew this, but we have a 57 Chevy coupe, and we're currently, that vehicle is being made street worthy, so we could have that as a parade entry perhaps, that the board and employees could engage in the parade. But there are all sorts of opportunities here. So we did also talk about employee activities, whether it's at the Civic Center or down at the open space. Is there something that the County Board of Commissioners could agree to do to celebrate that with our employees? So if you're interested in this, we'll start making some, I guess, decisions and maybe options to be presented to the board about what we could be doing. Just want to know what your thoughts are.
I thought we could sponsor an event. You know, like, just throw it out there. It's like the Flying Dogs or whatever it is that catch a frisbee. Well, this is sponsored by 250th anniversary by Grand Traverse County, something along those lines. But I didn't think about the bed race and the milk boat regatta. What do you think, Daryl? You want to do it?
I want to point out that the milk carton boat regatta was started by my parents. A
Oh,
little
really?
tidbit.
Let's do that.
Okay.
No, I don't know if sponsoring an event doesn't strike me as opposed to maybe a recognition of, I mean, it's a momentous event. It was a pretty, no pun intended, revolutionary idea at the time that the country was founded, and maybe a recognition of all those that got us here, including our veterans, some sort of a, I mean, obviously a proclamation, but opening ceremonies, maybe something, I don't know. I mean, my gut tells me that like just sponsoring an event, that's just kind of a here, but I don't know. I'm not a very good idea person. That doesn't necessarily strike me as like, you know, the dog jumping or whatever. It seems like.
What's our time frame?
Well, so the ticker the other day had 50 days to July 4th.
Yeah,
so we're on a tight window. We have to be cognizant. So the reason that I'm not saying let's do this right now is we have an expenditure problem. There are certain allowable expenditures that we can use and with some we can't. You know, fireworks as an example. A county cannot contribute to a fireworks demonstration. So we've got to be cognizant of that as we walk forward. But I think we can certainly engage the Cherry Festival at a higher level. One thing that I would be remiss to add, Kat, when I talked to her, you know, we charge the Cherry Festival for certain services associated with that event. And we have law enforcement for public safety, we have divers for air shows and for fireworks. That bill is pretty substantial, and it's only getting bigger. So she asked, well, can you consider, if you can't sponsor an event, if you can't do these things, could you maybe offset it with a defraying of some of those costs? So that would be something for us to consider as well.
Well, I like that concept. I think for the 250th birthday of our nation, we should be something a little more out in the open. I mean, that's an easy thing, but I mean, some visibility where we're out there saying thanks and celebrate. You know, to Commissioner Nelson's point, and I frequently say this, and I maintain that the birth of this country in the history of man is probably, this holiday is probably top 3 holidays, and I'm including the birth of Christ in that, because there's no country on this planet that has affected this planet the way that this one has, and still does to this day. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but nobody's got in the constitutional right to be happy except for here.
Could we sponsor a support tent of some kind, like a You know how the HVAC companies do a cooling tent at Cherry
I mean,
Festival?
the
or
health
there's-
department already has a tent down there. You know, there are a lot of things that the county is already doing. So it would be helpful, I think, as we continue the discussion, like maybe share a list of all the ways we are already participating, including other departments of the county, subsets who are, there are a lot of different aspects that people probably don't even know about.
Including us, probably.
So does the health department, their support tent, and I remember that, does it have a bold Grand Traverse County logo
it
on
does.
it? Okay.
There's also opportunities to encourage staff to volunteer and participate and maybe wear a very visible T-shirt, you know, not unlike Commissioner Nelson's, but maybe that actually says Grand Traverse County as well. And to get, and I know it gets challenging, but, you know, to encourage more participation. Historically, the parade is a little flimsy in our participation. Maybe we can be more encouraging of staff to do that, and maybe they get offsetting compensation at time off at work to show up. Instead of having 15 people, maybe we have more like 50 people.
It is on a Saturday this year and not the 4th of July, so that should be helpful, the main parade that we participate in. So that should help with participation, hopefully. I believe it's on the 11th.
Well, after thinking about it, we put a lot of thought into it, or I put a lot of thought into it. But I can't use the right adjectives, but the enormity or the,
Solemnity?
I don't know what we could do to actually celebrate it and give it justice. So I think as a group, we could probably put some ideas out there and share them and say, what could we do? Because it's really hard to come up with one idea like sponsoring an event or something like that. I think it carries a lot more weight than that. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a pretty special time in our life, you know?
I agree. Commissioner Morris?
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback on what Commissioner McAllister said, is that this seems a little bit more momentous, and we have historically done things, but I think this year we should probably do it in a big way. I'm not a either-or kind of person. I'm a both-and kind of person, so let's do that, and let's do this, and just be visible. So
It's pretty grand.
Commissioner Nelson?
I would suggest maybe that our contractors, Susan and Charlie, our PR firm, might be able to come up with some good ideas too, so I would make that request.
I'm going to suggest this, and seeing that we are kind of pressed for time, that all the folks on this commission, if you come up with an idea, let's just email it so we can have a list for the next time we meet. And that way, that'll give administration some time to vet things that we can do and things that we're prohibited from doing, just for the sake of time. I mean, we're not deliberating, just we can just all send them to Nate, or Nate and me, or however that works.
I don't know if we have to do it exactly on the 4th of July. There's a lot of communities that are doing it over the summer, or it's the year of our birth. It's the 250th year of America. So we already have the Cherry Festival and that celebration. That's going to bring a lot of people. Do we wait until after Cherry Festival so it's our community celebrating?
Well, to paraphrase Commissioner Morris, why not do both?
Because money?
Yeah, I mean, where is this coming from? I don't know. Like, do we have a budget set aside?
Well,
for-
we got to find out first, so what we're thinking. I can't speak for Mr. Bob, but you know, he's always, his favorite word is, I'll find a way. Then he says no.
I just want to throw out, if anybody wants to run the 15K with me, you're more than welcome to sign up.
Are you going to pull me in a wagon?
No. No.
It's the only way I'm going. And if I go, I'll be pulled in a wagon one way or the other, whether in the beginning or in the end.
Sorry, Chris, I'm running the half this year.
Ooh, the gauntlet.
The only one I haven't done, so, although I love the 15K, it's my favorite.
Gauntlet.
Fantastic.
I'm going to take from this conversation that there's general support for this concept, and we'll start reviewing appropriate expenditures. But I think the T-shirts or shirts that we need to order for staff that would be in a parade conceptually, we need to get that order in because we are within a window of time. So we'll start to move forward with that. Under under expenditure authority, so it wouldn't,
Bigger bubble guns.
bigger and more.
Yes.
And more candy.
And more candy.
More candy.
Red, white, and blue bubbles.
Take the
Way
amount
more.
of candy, multiply it by 8.
Yeah, please.
Those poor folks down at Union and
Oh, they never, they don't even get
Everybody
bubbles.
Everybody gets 250 pieces of candy.
Well, fantastic, thank you for all that. So, we're gonna go to 10C. Is there anybody in here for the Mullen FOIA appeal? I'm guessing there's not. So, seeing that they're not here, I'm gonna move to uphold the disclosure denial regarding the Joseph Mullen FOIA appeal and authorize myself, the board chair, to issue the written response.
I'll second.
All right, motion by myself, second by Commissioner Henschel. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Commissioner Andrews?
Yeah, why wouldn't we expand this FOIA that looks like Mr. Mullen asked for a broad request to a variety of departments and was denied on the basis only, as I understand it, on the basis of the judiciary exception, but that wouldn't prevent other departments from also having to comply, as I understand it. So why would we, and I'm curious why,
Mr. Norford?
yeah.
So I don't disagree that we probably shouldn't have framed it as a denial on the Register of Deeds records. We did indicate those records were available online. That's an obligation under the FOIA fee provisions. What I suggest, and we've included in the response letter from the chair, is that we provide Mr. Mullen with clarification where those records are directly available from the Register of Deeds office, specifically the web address. There's a couple of things in play with Register of Deeds records. One is the Michigan Enhanced Access to Public Records Act, and the second is the statutory fee structure under the Register of Deeds. FOIA does not circumvent those fees from being charged. So although we aren't saying you can't have them, really, we're saying you have to go here to get them.
Right. Right, so what would that look like in terms of an action if we wanted to do that? If we wanted to amend?
So I would defer to the letter that we prepared to the chair, which includes that information.
Where is that letter?
It was emailed to us separately.
I sent it yesterday at 1:13.
Is that for the closed session?
No, the letter is I can read the letter for you.
Okay, thank you.
So it says, I'll just read the relevant provision in here. Although the aspect of the response was in the form of a denial, this is just related to the Register of Deeds office, it may be considered a grant of your request because the requested records are available directly from the Register of Deeds office. However, the response did not provide additional information on how to obtain the records. Pursuant to MCL 15.234(5), if the FOIA coordinator knows or has reason to know that all or a portion of the requested information is available on its website, the public body shall notify the requester in its written response that all or a portion of the requested information is available on its website, end quote. And then the next paragraph, records are available from the Register of Deeds office on its website, and then we included the web address in the letter, or in person at the Register of Deeds office, and we've got the address there. So although it said a denial, it did say the records were available online. I just would suggest that we recharacterize this to say here's specifically where they are available.
I'm still catching up. You just read from your attorney-client privilege.
No.
I'm looking at.
Nope,
which
I
email?
read from the draft letter in the event that you upheld the denial. We prepared a draft letter for the board chair's signature. It's probably been a couple weeks since that was transmitted.
Yeah. Good.
No, I guess I'm looking at the Mullen-Paxton FOIA appeals letter that we got yesterday, and that's not what we're talking about?
That's not.
No.
Okay. If you're good with the motion, that's the main question.
Yes.
I hope so, he wrote it. Any more comments, questions, concerns? Motion on the floor. All those in favor, do we need to roll call that? No. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Norford. Okay, so we got some other things to do, so let's do Commissioner Administration reports. We're going to start down at Commissioner Henschel. You got anything, Rob?
Nothing today.
Commissioner Nelson?
Today's my anniversary, 37 years of my lovely wife Kathy. I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's, the gift is alabaster and copper. And you can't get pennies at the bank anymore, so if anyone has any pennies, I'm gonna try to give my wife 37 pennies.
See what I got in my stash.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and congratulations, by the way.
Don't tell her.
Okay.
I know it's special.
Congratulations, she's a lucky gal.
I'm a lucky
You
guy.
should take her to the UP and go copper mining.
For the
That
record.
sounds expensive.
Cheap.
Commissioner Flynn.
Met with MGT, who's working with us for our health director and administrators. What did we talk about? Yeah, review, thank you. Words just leave my brain these days. They need a few more commissioners, so please look at your emails and schedule a time to answer their questions so we can get that moving forward. Deadline will be June 5th, so after that, no say.
Fantastic, thank you. Commissioner Walter.
Yes, I went to my first Parks and Rec meeting last week as our new representative, and one thing I wanted to share that hadn't really come out as much in the review we received last week about roads and bridges and county assets that were damaged in the flooding is that, and I haven't seen it out in the world much, so I just wanted to share. There are a number of sections of trail along the Boardman River that are closed. Some of them are completely gone in some of the flooding. Some bridges, some pedestrian bridge issues as well, Olson Bridge in particular. So please share with your constituents and anybody who likes to use those. There's a wonderful network of trails down there. There's sections that are not available to be used because, in part, they don't exist anymore. I know, yes, but there are a lot of other trails to use and enjoy, but please share that with those you know who like to use that area, to please heed the warnings, the signage, the everything, because there are a lot of trail issues there. And then the other exciting thing that I think John shared too is that, and you may have seen at the Civic Center, that south building has been demolished, but no worries, there are some porta potties for use down in that area, because I know those come in handy. And the ones inside the Civic Center, of course, are available for use as well. So just want to share those updates.
May I add to your
Yeah.
update? So I met with Sarah Vaughn from the Conservation District, specific to the access to the Boardman River from the Forks north. And they have done some work to review passage of those rivers segments. You can kayak, canoe, inner tube the Forks to Brown Bridge Pond. You have to get out at Brown Bridge Pond because there's no additional passage through Shumsky and into Beitner because of the damage to bridges and debris in the river. We are going to be working with the Conservation District and Parks and Recreation, MDNR, to try to put out some public information about the safety of the river and what segments are available and which segments are not.
Great, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me update.
Are there signs on the river right now to that effect? I was wondering about that the other day when I was thinking about kayak season.
I believe there are from the Conservation District. They don't hold any weight other than a cautionary
Right,
provision.
Yeah.
Commissioner Morris.
I'm going to go ahead and put a date in your head for you to bookmark September 10th, most likely from 11 to 1. Northern Lakes is required to have a public hearing every year. That is the date of our public hearing, and the Community Engagement Committee, of which I'm a part, will be seeking to have our community leaders come to that and community stakeholders. So September 10th, and I will nail down the time frame for you by next
That could be
meeting.
at Hall Street.
Yes. We're going to have that actually at 4 separate locations so that people of different counties in making up Northern Lakes will be able to come to a local place. So, yes.
Thank you. Commissioner McAllister.
We're in full swing on a roundabout out in the greater Interlaken area. It's decimating our whole business community. It's pretty sad. You know, we're all open, but you wouldn't know it. We talked to a few people at the Hofbrau. They say, well, we didn't think we could get here, and somebody went on a map and found it. But, you know, everybody in Interlaken's still open and needs the support. If you guys are thinking about coming out that way, please do.
Great time to go. The places aren't as busy, and you can get in right away.
Right now you can, yeah.
Awesome. Commissioner Spence.
Oh, okay. I was talking to our Garfield Township zoning administrator this morning before our meeting, Mike Green, and we had a good conversation about the importance of cleaning out your storm drains because all the sediment and the debris and the sand that goes into storm drains eventually ends up in our bay. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to remind everyone who has municipal water and sewer to take a look at storm drains in your neighborhood and clean them out because it protects our water. That's all I've got.
Wow.
How does one clean out the storm?
With a shovel. You just get the sand and the debris
You
and
can't
the leaf matter.
access the storm drain.
Well, the surface of it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a
It's
lot
like-
that's going
I don't
down
know that we
into it.
want to encourage people to like get
Well, I don't think
in
you
there.
can.
There's
They're
Somebody
sealed
that's
up,
never
aren't
cleaned
they?
a storm drain before.
Yeah, well, keep
Well-
it clear around the area. I'm sorry I wasn't clear about that, but the surface
break
area
away the
on
stuff
top.
that's collected on top kind of thing?
Yeah, your grass clippings when you mow the lawn, that shouldn't be in an area where it can eventually end up going down.
Very good. Commissioner Andrews.
Peninsula Township is well underway with their non-motorized transportation planning. I know many people in our community use the Peninsula Roads, Center, East Shore, Bluff, and Peninsula Drive as recreational areas. It's obviously been an issue of public safety as more and more people use those resources for non-motorized transit intersecting with fast-moving traffic. So after many, many, many years of this being a priority that just wasn't able to be moved, they have hired a consultant. What you're going to probably see on Old Mission Peninsula is not a trail, a single trail down the ridge or on one or the other side, like you see on Leelanau and the Tart Trail, but more a mix of connecting trails and enhanced safety measures between land values and the logistics of the geography on the peninsula. It's just not viable to create a single road, and frankly, that's not what the trail users want on the peninsula. It's the vistas and views on both sides, and the hills, and going up and down. So, stay tuned. It's moving. It's going to be a slow and probably be a phased plan that shows a long-term vision that you could chip away at over time, instead of, you know, those who have in mind that Leelanau Trail or the Tart Trail. It's probably not going to look like that.
Whatever gets them off the road, the faster the better.
Well, no, that, it's not, there's not any, right away, the survey says, the assumption is there will be no trail. So there will not be in the plan.
It's unfortunate.
A trail.
It's
just about safer connections, so, which is important too, but it is disappointing to see there's no desire for a trail at all.
There is a strong desire. It's just practically impossible.
Well, I don't agree.
You would have to actually build a whole series of trails in order to achieve that.
Yeah.
And if anyone's got 100 million sitting around, happy to chat.
If you got 100 million sitting around, talk to me first. I got some for bicycles too. It's all good. So I was at the Grant Township meeting earlier this week, and I don't know if you've read about it. I think it was in the ticker last week. There is a proposal, unofficial proposal, to put in 1,500 acres of solar panels. And they are not applying locally through zoning. They're using the state Act 263, 233, whatever it is, that, well, they're not, at least that's the thought. I have no problem people using their property the way they want to. I do have a problem with the state telling us what to do. I'm not okay with that. So if anybody has any, and this is in Wexford County as well as in Grand Traverse County, so I don't know what to do about it yet. I've got some feelers out, how we can participate, protect our citizens from government oversight and abuse.
I don't think we should assume the state is going to abuse.
I
think
Any
that
government that
was-
grows bigger is an abuse to my freedom.
I mean, they were going to go through a process one way or another. They were either going to go through a local process or a state process. They had a choice to enact zoning. I think that would have gotten a different approach. And either way, it is a private use, right?
Is there a private right to develop that?
It is, as long as what you're doing on your property is not absolving my pursuit of happiness. Just because your property line ends there doesn't mean your responsibility does. Yep. I'm all set with that. Anybody to my right?
Yes. So we have been requested to have a joint study session with the City of Traverse City to receive the strategic vision from the Housing and Homelessness Task Force. There's a doodle poll out there for you from Lisa about a date that could work. The chairman and I did speak about the 24th as a study session for June, I believe. The city has an interest in having that sooner. So
Sooner than June?
sooner than June 24th. That would be whatever the fourth Wednesday of the month is. So that doodle poll is out to you. Please take a look at it if you can.
I answered it already.
It's mostly Mondays and Tuesdays, 15th,
The
16th.
word, our focus area keeps going out of focus.
Huh. That's funny.
I thought it was just me. I thought it was just my eyes.
So I also want to highlight, this is obviously our front page for the county, and you know that we had a groundbreaking for Project Alpha. So we have a new Engage Grand Traverse County page. So if you go to our front page, you see this just launched Engage GTC.
That's good.
You will see that, and this is just the starting point, the two feature projects that we have on the engagement site are Project Alpha, where you can go in and view the project, updates, progress reports are all right there. You can submit, as a citizen or a community member, you can submit your email address to receive this via email. I would encourage that if you have interest in following the project not only with the Project Alpha, but the future projects that we will have as well, to hit the subscribe button here. And you will automatically get email updates as those updates are published. The other project certainly that we have is the jail project, the Justice Complex project, my apologies. Same thing. Updates, information for the community. There's links to surveys through this page as well. Please go to the page, and if you have public input or you have something that you want us to know through the survey that GFC International has completed, please go to that site and subscribe for updates as well as engage in the survey. We will continue to use Engage GTC in various projects, functions. Powered by a application called Granicus. And Granicus has really kind of opened our world as to what we can push out to the public and how we can interact with the public. So again, always striving for more public transparency, more information. And if
I
you have
just
an idea-
subscribed you all to the emails.
Pardon? So, if you have any thoughts on what you would like to see on Engage GTC, by all means, let me know.
Who monitors that?
Jenny McKellar.
Okay. I like the name.
good.
Engage. It's very inviting.
It only took us 17 meetings to get there, but
Good job. See, meetings are effective.
Appreciate your tenacity.
What is the, can I ask what the sign-in and register components are, like, what's the function of those?
that's a great question. I believe that, I'm going to look through this. I think you can actually, you know what? I'm not going to give you a wrong answer, so let me,
That's fine.
let me ask Jenny.
Curious what, like, I'm assuming you can get all you need to without signing in or registering for something.
I would just think that that's probably another way for you to get into our system to receive the updates that we provide. But let me
Okay.
clarify with Jenny, and I'll get
Sure.
back to you.
Well, this is a huge improvement, so thank you.
That
Really is.
is all that I have, sir.
Mr. Forsythe?
Yeah, just two things. First, thanks for everybody who was able to make it to the Project Alpha groundbreaking last week. Really bad weather, but still great turnout and great event. And where we're at with that project is the land leveling and groundwork should be completed by the end of this month, and we'll move into foundations beginning of June. And we are targeting a July meeting for a comprehensive update to the Board of Commissioners to go over progress. Yeah.
Can I add to that? Because I think we all got the letter from a concerned person about replanting the trees that were removed.
Yeah, we are working on that. So that is, Fern, I included you in my biweekly oversight committee update, and that is a topic of conversation that we are continuing to address.
Great.
Yeah.
Was that Ms. Evans' email?
I can't remember their name. I have a copy of it.
Yeah.
Who you met with?
Yeah, so we met with the neighbors on Terra Drive, some of them, and I also corresponded back to Ms. Evans via letter, just thanking her for for her letter. We intend on planting trees not only back at Lafreniere, but additional trees elsewhere for the trees that we removed. And I'll gladly take her help.
Yeah. Oh, you'll gladly take our help to plant them? Oh,
I said her, but I'll gladly take your help as well. We have a lot of shovels.
I know, and hard hats.
And hard hats.
I want to
in.
make sure the county's following the kind of best practice of, you take a tree down this size, you don't just plant one this size. There's a whole science to it, so.
There is. We've talked to DTE previously about how we can engage them in a grant process as well to do just that we're not just planting seedlings, we're planting trees.
And then the second thing is that this was under the consent agenda. Thank you for approving the new revised Board of Commissioners policies. Thank you to the Policy Review Committee. This is policy, I think there are 8 policies, that's 8 out of 150, 200 that we're systematically reviewing over the next year. So thank you. Thank you for your effort.
Thank you, Chris. You did a good job of bringing those changes and making it a seamless process.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I'm
Mr.
losing
Bott
my
doesn't
spot.
have anything to report.
All right, so let's go to second public comment. Anybody like to comment on anything at this time? Remember, the rules apply as before, 3 minutes limit. Going once, going twice, third time's a charm. Thank you. I don't see any notices. So, we do have 2 closed sessions today. However, one of them is for the Paxton FOIA appeal, and they could not be here today, so they requested that we postpone that till next week. I would like to suggest and entertain a motion that we also observe the closed session when they come back.
I'll make the motion that we delay the closed session on the agenda, item 14A, to a date to be determined with administration.
Support.
Ms. Paxton actually says she can come to the next meeting.
There we go. Any more discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay.
Eh.
All right, so we have one. You got to pick a side, Lauren.
She withdraws her nay.
This one will be an easy one. So we do have a closed session. And
Who's
so,
the second on the?
Yeah, who's second?
PJ, you made the motion. Who's seconded?
Rob Henschel, the end.
sorry about that.
Ever want to do that at a meeting when you're sitting
And
in a
Commissioner
township
Flynn
meeting?
voted both
They
ways.
both all say aye, you always want to.
It's covering the bases.
So we just want to be clear for the minutes. You voted in support of the
I
moving.
voted in support.
You voted both
I was
ways.
just
Was
thinking
a
of my inner
reflexive
person.
no.
She also abstained.
She's like, I want to go now.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to be to 14B. I'll entertain a motion to go to closed session.
Mr. Chairman, I move to go to closed session to consider the purchase of real property pursuant to the right of first refusal as permitted by MCL 152681D.
Thank you.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ansel, support by Commissioner Nelson. That's a roll call, ain't it? Roll call vote, if you please.
Nelson.
Yes.
Morris.
Yes.
McAllister.
Yes.
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes. Yes.
Alter.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Alrighty, I'll see you
trying to
shortly.
be
Well, it's
clear.
trying to be heard, so that Lloyd doesn't
Move to come out of closed session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute, I missed that.
Henschel
Motion.
moved
Thank you.
to come out of closed session. Andrews, support.
It's like a meat locker in here, it's so cold.
No.
It is cold.
Ashley supported?
Andrews.
Andrews.
Oh,
Yep.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Hit it.
Did we need a vote on coming out of closed session?
Sure, everybody in favor of coming out of closed session, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Fantastic. I move to authorize county administration proceed with due diligence efforts regarding the consideration of the right of first refusal for the real estate located 2325 North Garfield Road, Traverse City, Michigan. Have a second?
Support?
Sweet. Comments, questions, or concerns? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Fantastic, thank you. If there are no more comments, questions, or concerns, I would say we're adjourned. Beautiful work, everyone. Thank you so much.